Hey everyone, this is a quick video on how to set up and use FFB-Bridge for the first time. This is not an exhaustive guide or review video, it's just a short one designed to get you up and running if you've never used this before. So the first thing that you do is you install FFB-Bridge. I'm not going to go over the installation because it's exactly the same as every other app that you've ever installed on Windows or Mac or Linux for that matter. Once you've set it up, run it. And the first time that you run, it'll give you a couple of warnings. One is about a safety warning to make you acknowledge that the stick is going to move and you understand that. And the second is a small orientation on what to do. I'm going to skip through this. This one comes pre-checked with don't show this again, because I assume you don't want it showing up every time. But if you want to see it again, you can uncheck that or look at it from the support page, which is over here. Okay. Now that you've dropped into the home page or the dashboard page of FFB-Bridge, this is the page that the app will always start up on after those first couple of warnings are out of the way. Those will not show up again now. The first thing I'd do is go to settings and just make sure that you've got your theme set to the one that you like, whether it's light or dark. And if you want to use visual contrast, high contrast mode, you can do that over here as well. There's a couple of other settings that you can look at, but really at this point, as long as you have the theme set, that's the first thing that you have to do. You don't have to change anything else here. The next thing I would do is go to hardware and then go to effects. The reason I say this is because FFB-Bridge is designed to only use 100% power with the Sidewinder FFB Pro and the Logitech sticks, because those are older and less powerful. But with today's sticks and yokes and being a lot stronger and a lot more powerful, by default, FFB-Bridge only uses 35% of powerful sticks that it recognizes, which right now are the three Moser bases as well as the Brunner FFB-G. So those it'll use 35% of. Any other force feedback device that is not recognized by for FFB-Bridge, anything besides the Sidewinder and the Mosers, it'll actually only use 20%, and this is a safety feature. If you want to use more of it, you have to just check this box, which tells you that, hey, this is something that you have to be careful about, after which you see that you can use the full value. It does give you a couple of warnings about that because these things are pretty strong. But with the Moser base, I have the AB9 plugged in. I found somewhere between 35 to 50% is pretty good for me. You can choose whatever you like, but I wouldn't start at 100% start off with these bigger bases. So that is something that you want to look at as well. The settings, the theme, and under hardware effects, make sure you got this set to something that is reasonable for you. There's some other stuff here, but you don't have to touch anything. It's just these two things. There is one more thing that only applies really to helicopter pilots. If you're not flying helicopters, you can just ignore it. But if you are flying helicopters and you want to fly helicopters, you probably want to come and set up force trim and force trim on off and beep trim and the cycling. If none of this makes any sense to you, don't worry. It's because you, like me, don't fly helicopters much. I've been learning thanks to this program now, but I didn't know any of these things before. To set them up, you just click the button and it guides you through it. So it should be pretty straightforward. But I'll skip that for the moment. And now that you've got your hardware set up to where you want it, perhaps you've calibrated your helicopter settings there as well. At this point, you're pretty much good to go to start the program and start using it. So if you start up a flight simulator, I'm just going to start Flight Sim 2024 over here. Right. So while that starts up, I'll just talk about what FFB-Bridge is doing. So while FFB-Bridge is running, it is constantly looking for a sim. And you can see that over here in the diagnostics and the log. So every 8 seconds, it looks for both MSFS as well as X-plane, right? And if it doesn't find it, it just times out and keeps doing this. So as long as the program is running, it is constantly listening for a simulator to start up so that it can work with that. So you'll see that on my other screen, which you can't see right now, but Flight Sim is just loading up through its main menu. When it hits the main menu, that is when FFB-Bridge recognizes that it is running, because it takes the sims only start broadcasting their data once they're fully loaded. Once it is loaded and running, what you want to do is you want to make sure that you've got the right plane selected. So FFB-Bridge does auto-recognize planes, and if your plane or helicopter is one of these that are in this list, if you choose like a TBM in Flight Sim, it'll detect that and it'll automatically switch to that, so you don't have to do anything. If it's a plane that the profile is not there, well, then what you would do is pick the closest profile, like the type of plane that it is, whether it's single engine, dual engine, big, small, turbo, etc., and then tweak from there, right? So maybe you're flying a plane that is similar to a TBM, choose that and then tweak that. Okay, so you can see that you've got this new little dialog window popping up over here saying that the device is open and the sim is live, and it has detected that it's my MSFS 2024, and since the last plane that I was using was the Cessna, it detects that and it loads that profile automatically. If you noticed I had the TBM selected, it switched back to that. So now in your sim, just go through and load your flight as you normally would. There is no plugin or add-on that is installed within the sim. From the sim's perspective, this thing doesn't exist. So there's no changes or edits or anything you need to do inside Microsoft Flight Sim or X-Plane. Right, I'm just loading that thing up. As soon as it's loaded up, I will arm this. And this is the part where under settings where it says auto arm when ready, that's what controls this. So if I had that selected, I wouldn't need to press this button. It would just load it up as soon as the sim was sending telemetry data. But in this case, I've set it to manual. At this point, my sim is up and running on the other window, and I can now arm forces. And you get another warning that says, hey, it's going to move the stick, so be careful. And now you will see that your device is armed. The stick is being driven from the flight sim, and this is the data coming from the sim. So the plane is just sitting on the runway right now, so nothing's happening. And these are the effects that are being generated by FFB-Bridge. So right now, all it's doing is generating a little bit of stick feel and maybe a little bit of engine rumble. You can see what is being generated here and here. And now if I just go back to the sim and I crank up the throttle a little bit, you should see that start to change. Excuse me. So you see as the plane accelerates, FFB-Bridge now starts feeding in the forces into the stick, and I can feel them on the stick, but you can also see a visual representation over here. And as things kick off, they load in over here. So you can, at a glance, see which effects fired and how many times. So for example, right now you can see that the flap drag fired and it fired at 3%. If I raise the flaps here, you should probably see the flap buffet come in. Yeah, so I just lifted the flaps and you saw the flap buffet kicked off as well. So this is essentially how you'll be able to see it. And as you move your stick around, you'll be able to see all the forces coming through. Whenever you're ready to stop, you can stop in a couple of ways. You can disarm, or you can just exit the sim or pause. The minute the sim pauses, this thing will stop as well. So that is all you need to do to start up FFB-Bridge and get it up and running and start enjoying force feedback. I will do more videos going into more depth where I talk about the tuning and the profiles page and MockSim and everything. But for now, just load it up, make sure you've got it set up, make sure your hardware is set the way you like it, and have fun. That's all there is to it. Thank you very much.